All right, in this section 5-6, we're looking at rotation part 2. Now, the difference between this lesson and the last one is last time all the rotations we did were with the origin, 0, 0. Okay, this time we're going to have a different center of rotation. It's not going to be at the origin every time this year. And, of course, we're going to be asked to find A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay, and so what we've got at this point is for this triangle we have a 90-degree clockwise rotation about -3, comma -2. Okay, so notice that the center of rotation is not 0, 0 this time. It's -3, -2. So there is the center of rotation. So everything is now going to be rotating around this point, all right? Not 0, 0. So that's the first thing to make sure that you keep in mind. Okay, so it kind of changes the mechanics of the rotation just a little bit. You've got to make sure that you're putting your pencil on the center of rotation, not necessarily the center of the graph. Okay, so we're going 90 degrees clockwise. Remember, 90 degrees is quarter turn, and we turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. 90 degrees clockwise rotation. We're looking for A prime. All right, so the question is, where is it? Now, the question is, where is it with respect to the center of rotation? All right, so we're counting from the center of rotation. Everything happens from the center of rotation. The only thing that happens from the origin is to count to get the coordinates of the answer at the end. Nothing else. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, so where is A with respect to the center of rotation? It's to the right by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. It's to the right 5 and up 1. To the right 5 and up 1. So when I go back to normal, where do I need to go from the center of rotation? I need to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. To the right 5 and up 1. And then there's your coordinate for A prime. Okay? So once again, notice that everything is happening from the center of rotation, not from 0, 0. So when we turned it, we said, okay, how far is it away from the center of rotation? To the right 5 and up 1. When I go back to normal, where am I going to go? To the right 5 and up 1. All right, and notice it did rotate from here over to here, 90 degrees clockwise. What's the coordinate? Now this is the only time we go back to 0, 0. The coordinate is 1, 2, -1. 2, -1 is the correct answer. All right. So again, make sure that you are rotating around the center of rotation. The only time you go back to 0, 0 is to count the coordinates for the answer at the very end. That's the only time. All right, what about B? So again, we're on a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. 90 degrees clockwise rotation. And so let's look for B. Well, B is to the right by 1, 2, 3. So when I go back to normal, where am I going to go? To the right by 1, 2, 3. And then we have B prime. All right. So B prime is now at 0, -2. 0, -2. All right. And so the next one that we want to look at now is for C prime. So again, 90 degrees clockwise rotation. 90 degrees clockwise rotation, and I want to find now C prime. Well, where is C with respect to the center of rotation? It's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's down 1. Over 5, down 1. So when I go back to normal, where do I go? Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1. C prime. The coordinate for that is going to be 2, -3. 2, -3. And so when we draw in the triangle, we can see that indeed the rotation has taken place 90 degrees clockwise. All right. So the big thing that you need to make sure you understand is that everything is rotating around the center of rotation, which is not 0, 0. All right. So please keep that in mind. Don't make that mistake. A lot of students typically do when they're doing off-center rotation, right? Okay, so the rotation, the center of rotation is not the origin anymore. That's the main thing to remember. One good thing about this lesson is when it's off center like that, they don't ask you for the rule, and it's because it's like just a complicated matrix of values that you've got to go through and calculate. So you don't have to worry about finding the rotation rule if it's off center, if it's not rotating around the origin. All right. But there is one more problem to look at here. First of all, I'm going 180 degrees. I'm going to turn it completely upside down, and it's about the point 2 comma negative 1. Let's find that center. So 1, 2, negative 1. So there is your center of rotation. So 180 degrees is completely upside down. Once again, we're going for A prime, B prime, and C prime here is what we will be going for. Okay. And in order to finish that, I need to turn this completely upside down, 180 degrees about the origin. Remember, when it's 180 degrees, there is no direction necessary because you'll end up in the same place, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, so now I'm looking for A. So A is to the right by 1, 2, 3, 4, and down by 1, 2, 3, 4. Right 4, down 4. So when I go back to normal, where do I need to go? Right 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so there we go. All right, that's what we're looking at. That's A prime. And we can write out its coordinate. Remember, coordinate counts from 0, 0, not from here. Don't make that mistake. The 0, 0, that's the only time you go back to 0, 0 is to get the coordinate for the answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 6, negative 5. All right, so 6, negative 5. What about B? Okay, put your pencil back on the center of rotation and go back upside down. Well, where is B with respect to the center of rotation? It's to the right 1 and down by 1, 2, 3. Right 1, down 3. So when I go back to normal, where am I going to go? Right 1 and down 3. And that is your B prime. And it does have a coordinate of 1, 2, 3, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has a coordinate of 3 and negative 4. Okay. And so there is one more that we need to take a look at. That's for C prime. So once again, I'm going to put my point on the center of rotation, and I'm going to turn this thing completely upside down because it's 180 degrees. And so I'm looking for C prime. Well, C is straight across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces to the right by 5. So when I go back to normal, where am I going to go? To the right by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so that'll be my C prime. I can get the coordinates. Remember, go back to 0, 0 for the coordinates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and down by 1. That's going to make the coordinates 7, negative 1. And now we have all of our prime points. Okay. And so as you can kind of look at this, you can see why they don't ask you for the rule on this, because A went from negative 2, 3 to 6, negative 5, right? So just a completely different set of ways to go about coming up with that coordinate. And so, like I say, it's not really efficient for us to go through and write out the rule for this type of thing. All right, we can, however, complete the triangle, the prime triangle, and notice how it rotated 180 degrees around this point. Okay? And so there you go. That concludes this lesson.